meeting. And I just turned on the record button. So just to let you know, we are recording this meeting so that people who are unable to join can go ahead and watch this later. We recorded last week's as well. And although my content is the same, sometimes the questions are different. So there is value in recording more than one session, just because sometimes there's different answers and because there's different questions. So I just wanted to let you know that we are recording this. I will keep an eye on the waiting room as well as the chat box, but Crystal's here to help me with that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start my presentation, and share my screen with y'all. And of course that just hid my screen. Okay, let me open up my chat again. Sorry about that. Okay. It's always so much fun to do this, and then you have your multiple screens that you have to move everything around on. Okay, and as I learned last time that doing this, there's a little tiny bit of a delay from because I'm sharing my presentation, there's a little delay between when I hit the button for the next slide and it actually going. So that is always super fun. So again, my name is Jody Parker. I am the new Title IV Part A coordinator for Utah State Board of Education. I am not new. I have been with the state as the health and PE specialist for about 4 years now. And I just took on the role of coordinator for Title IV Part A in May, although then I went on maternity leave for the next few months. So I am not new, but I also am kind of new to the role. I'm very new to this role and have only been actively involved in this role now for a couple of months. Crystal Carfaro is also on the line. Crystal is the Title IV Part A support staff. She, though, has been involved in this grant for a lot longer than me. And Crystal, if you want, I'll let you kind of introduce yourself. And
hi guys, most of you probably know me from the back end. You'll see emails and reminders come through from me when we get close to deadlines and things like that. I like to send out reminders and let you know that the program closing date is coming, or if you have questions about what sort of backup documentation is needed or anything like that, I can always provide some help in those areas. So, hello and welcome.
And Crystal is fabulous, and she, if you have questions about like how much money your district or charter gets, she probably can answer that quicker than I can because I'll probably ask her. Let's be honest. When it comes to the allowable programs, that's where I've done a lot of training all summer and been working with other state coordinators. So that part is more of kind of my expertise area. But together, Crystal and I think, have made a really great team. And I'm excited to share some of the changes and updates. So, sorry, delay. So much fun. Okay, so if you will keep your mic muted when you're not speaking, and I do have you muted on entry, so that does help. But when you do speak, it is really nice, and you don't have to, but it's very nice if you would turn your camera on while you're speaking. It's nice to see faces, especially where most of us aren't seeing faces on a very regular basis anymore. And when we do, there's a mask over them. So if you have the ability to turn your camera on, that is always so nice. Use the chat box for questions. Krista will monitor that a little more closely than I am, just because it's sometimes hard and distracting to see the chat as I'm speaking, and it gets hidden as I change screens and things like that. But participate as much as you want. This meeting is for you. If you have questions, I will pause every few slides as we change kind of different topics. If you have questions, please ask them in the chat or turning on your mic, either way. But I will pause and give you time to type up a question or to turn on your mic and camera if possible, and ask your question verbally. So with that, purpose. So by now, most of you have been participating in this grant. Oh, I forgot one thing. I'm going to pause myself. If you all, this is just really helpful for us, and I did it last time and it worked out really well. If you go on your screens in Zoom right now, and you go down towards the bottom, there's a little thing that says participants. You open that box up and you find your name. Off to the side of your name, you can change your name. So I don't want you to actually changing your actual name, but change your name to add which school or district you are representing. So I then would change my name by clicking the More button next to my name and hit rename. And then next to my name, I will add USBE and hit OK. Now my name should appear on all of your screens as Jody Parker, USBE. Crystal's done it as well. And what this does is it really helps Crystal, and as we're recording later, but it helps us a lot to know where you are. So if you have a question as you're asking, Crystal just automatically knows which school, charter school or district you're representing. And we can sometimes cater your answer a little bit more to exactly what you have. I should have put that in my little norms thing. I totally forgot to do that. But we did this last time and it worked and it was awesome. So if you can do that, okay. Now, restart. The purpose of Title IV Part A is really, it's about equity. This whole entire grant is on how we can give more opportunities to all of our students by access to well-rounded, improving their school conditions, so that's safe and healthy students, improving their use of technology and academic support, so their digital literacy. And sometimes that technology one is really the access to technology. It's how do we help students in maybe very rural areas get the equipment they need in order to participate in higher ed classes or things like that that maybe their local schools are offering. So there are requirements, as with any federal grant. We have some things that we have to do in order to give you the funds. The first one is that we identify the areas through a comprehensive needs assessment. This one has changed quite a bit from the way that we've done it in the past. However, most of you aren't going to need to be making changes this year, and we'll get into that in a minute in more detail. But then you'll create a plan to address those areas that you identified through your comprehensive needs assessment and how it aligns with the purpose of Title IV Part A with the allowable activities. And you can see the statute is linked here. You will get a copy of these slides, and we'll post this with the recording, but we will post a copy of these slides, so you will get this. Then you have to describe how your funds are going to be used and how it meets the objectives. You have to use evidence-based practices and have measurable outcomes that demonstrate the success in activities. So those are the requirements on your end, what we ask for you to do. So again, Title IV Part A is an opportunity for educational excellence for each Utah student by ensuring equity of educational opportunities and cultural responsiveness to promote each student's academic success and well-being. There's two different kinds of awards. A lot of our districts, not all, but a lot of our districts, especially all of our big ones, are getting awards of more than $30,000. When you're getting an award more than $30,000, there are more requirements that you have to meet. You have to use money in each of the 3 allowable activities, so well-rounded, safe and healthy students and effective use of technology, and you also have to complete the comprehensive needs assessment every 3 years. For those of you that are getting less than $30,000, you have to choose one of the activities and you are not required to do a comprehensive needs assessment. Okay. Are there questions about any of that so far? We're going to go into more than $30,000 and the comprehensive needs assessment next. Do we have any questions so far? I will pause. Remember, you can use the chat box or unmute.
Hanifi at Beehive speaking. So in the past, it was allowed that we could repurpose like the grant as either part of Title 1 or 2. Is that still the option, or how is that?
Yes, you can transfer your funds from Title 4 Part A to either Title 1 or 2. And there's a transfer request form that either Crystal or I can send if you would like to do that. And I actually think we sent it in the first email, but maybe we didn't send it this time. But we can if you would like that request form, just let one of us know and we'll get you that request form. Okay, and I can't see any chats. No, okay, I'm gonna keep going. So if you are receiving more than $30,000, you do have to, again, conduct that comprehensive needs assessment, a minimum of every 3 years. If you are significantly changing your program goals from last year or the year before, when you did that comprehensive needs assessment, you would need to redo it because you have completely new goals. If you're continuing the goals that you found at the end of your last needs assessment, at the data that you found after doing the comprehensive needs assessment last time, then and you're continuing those same goals that you found were needs, then you do not need to redo it this year. Most of you probably did your first needs assessment in 2019. So then this last 2020, you got to continue, and then this year's 21, you get to continue. When you are receiving more than $30,000, you have to spend at least 20% on well-rounded and safe and healthy. There's a typo there, I need to fix that. On each of those, you have to do 20% in well-rounded and 20% in safe and healthy students. And then you have to spend at least 1% of your funds on effective use of technology. Out of everything that you have allocated for effective use of technology, if you said 10%, no more than 15%, no more than 15% of your 10% can be used to purchase infrastructure. So the idea behind this is that we are trying to increase our opportunities for underrepresented groups. Some of these could be female students, minorities, English language learners, children with disabilities, economically disadvantaged students, students in rural or underserved areas. All could be included to increase the equity of all students in Utah. Any questions yet? We're going to go into the 3 different programs here. Okay. So here are some examples of activities that would fall under the allowable well-rounded educational opportunities. So again, this really is about equity. So how can we increase the opportunities for our minority students, our English learners? Oh, there are questions. Oh, Crystal, looks like maybe you answered it. Sorry, my chat was hidden and all of a sudden it popped up. Okay. Crystal, if I'm missing something, just like chime in and interrupt me, okay? Thanks. That was weird. The chat box all of a sudden popped up and there's a whole bunch of chats in there. So, low-income students or anyone that's underrepresented in a critical subject areas. So some of these things might be career and college guidance and counseling programs, anything that supports the arts. And I know that's really broad, but it's intended to be. Engaging students with STEM, improving their achievement through accelerated learning, social studies, foreign language, environmental education, supporting contents that integrate multiple areas. So health and literacy, mathematics and art. What are ways that we can integrate subjects? Well-rounded, your funding for well-rounded would absolutely be there, or any subject that is determined by the state or local education agency. And with that, we are creating these guides, and I'll show you some samples in a minute that will help you as soon as more contents get them done. So far, mathematics and ELA have both created guides to help you know how to use the Title IV Part A funds to increase opportunities in mathematics and in English language arts. But we do have guides coming in art. We have guides coming in STEM. I believe social studies is going to redo theirs. Safe and healthy students. This one I think is a lot more straightforward than well-rounded. Well-rounded seems to be broader category. Safe and healthy seems to be a lot more narrow and more specific as well. But any kind of evidence-based substance abuse prevention, suicide prevention, sex abuse prevention, violence prevention programs, school-based mental health service, anything that integrates health and safety practices into school and athletic programs, programs and activities to support healthy, active lifestyles, including nutrition education or structured physical activity programs, bullying harassment prevention programs, mentoring and school counseling, high quality training for suicide. Oh my gosh, I need to turn that off. 1 second, peeps. I am sorry. We're going to get out of there. Okay. Okay, I apologize. Hopefully that, I just killed it. Okay, it's my desk phone for anyone that doesn't know what that awful sound is. And I forgot to log out of it before I started our meeting. So much fun. So any kind of, where was I? So we were on training for suicide prevention. So that is different than the program itself. This is training our staff on all of the things in the first one. So suicide prevention, crisis management, conflict, human trafficking, violence prevention, bullying, harassment prevention, or any kind of school-wide positive behavior interventions and supports. With technology, we have a little bit of an overlap because in Utah, we have our digital teaching and learning team that has pretty significant funds where they have grants in Utah, and we give funding to our LEAs to increase the opportunities with technology in our students. However, if you're getting more than $30,000, you're required to use funding in Title IV Part A. So how can you do that without supplanting what you're already getting with our DTL grants? So that's something you need to think about, is how can we supplement what we're already getting with DTNL instead of supplanting, or what is something completely new that you could use with Title IV Part A funds? So some of those things that would absolutely fall into the category would be providing your educators, school leaders, and administrators with learning tools, devices, content. I feel like that's a little easier right now with all the COVID-19 requirements and adaptations that we're required to do right now. A lot of our virtual learning platforms that we're using, not all of our teachers are trained in how to use them and how to be engaging with them. That's a really big one. I can put a Canvas course together, but it may not be very engaging. So how can you do that and be more engaging? Also, you can do this to build your technological capacity. You can use it for effective and innovative strategies, to make more rigorous academic courses, blended learning, providing students in rural, remote, and underserved areas with resources for high quality digital learning experience and access to online courses. I kind of hinted at this one earlier, where sometimes a local school doesn't offer a course, but another school may. And if we could get that student in the rural area to remotely join a CE class, for example, or a college level, a course on a college campus, and there was a ways to do this, that we can do early college or CE courses, then you could use those funds to allow those opportunities to those students. Any questions about those funds? And I can't see the chat again. I don't know why. Oh, there it goes.
Hanif is speaking again.
Yeah.
So digital teaching and learning grant amounts are usually limited, like not big monies. Let's assume, for example, if you are using to renew the devices, it usually go for like portion of it. but for the remainder, some of, the other devices, can they use that fund Title IV? Will that be considered as supplanting?
So if you used all of the money that you got from the digital teaching learning money and you still needed more, then that would be supplementing, and that's okay, because you're supplementing the money that you're already getting. A question from last time was, what about purchasing equipment for student use? And because our students are going remote, right? Or we have a lot of students that are learning from home. And if you needed to buy more personal, not like they're keeping them forever, but you need to purchase more personal devices for your students. How is that, would that be considered infrastructure? Because remember, only 15% can be infrastructure. Well, in that case, it's not infrastructure. And infrastructure would be a computer lab inside of your school building, instead of purchasing devices that the students are using. That would be technological capacity. So those are different. So by adding on devices for students to use, that's capacity, not infrastructure. If that hopefully that's clear. I think I explained it better last time. Maybe I'll need the recording. Sorry. I'm much funnier in person than I am when I'm speaking to myself. But this is all being recorded for all of you to watch later, my lame jokes with no one laughing at them. Okay. So here are two of the, and these will be available online as well. We do have, Crystal, do you want to drop in the chat the link to our website? So we will have these recordings, as well as all of our high leverage strategies, on our Title IV Part A website. And what these are is, it is ways to use, and they are 2 pages. It looks like they're one. They are 2 pages. So this is only just a little snipping of them. But you can see mathematics gave a whole list of ways that you can use mathematics for well-rounded educational opportunities. They also have safe and healthy, and they have effective use of technology on here. ELA has done the exact same thing. So you see they're well-rounded, ways you can use well-rounded, and then they have safe and healthy, and they also have effective use of technology. So if you are interested in using any of those strategies, you absolutely can. And all of these are going to be on our website. It will be in one link. So you don't have to click on all the different subjects. We'll put them all in one kind of packet for you. We're just still collecting a few of them, and hopefully we can get those on by next week. Here is a really kind of consolidated quick chart that you can look at and see, just super quick, what counts as well-rounded, what can count as safe and healthy. And these are just examples again. It doesn't have to be these. It can be things other than this. And that little asterisk again, that is the special rule. That's just saying that only 15% of what you're using in effective use of technology can be infrastructure. And then a quick reminder, if everyone that's kind of joined after I made the announcement, if you click at the bottom of your Zoom window on the word participant, a little box pops off. When you look at your name, there's a little blue box. One of them says more. Click on the word more. Then you can rename yourself. And if you will rename yourself to add your school or district after, so for example, you look at mine and it says Jody Parker, USBE, and Crystal's doing the same thing. That just is really helpful for us to know which school or district you are here supporting. And it's just really, really nice for us to be able to see that. Thank you. I can see people adding them on the participant list. So thank you for that. So comprehensive needs assessment. This is going to be our biggest change from how we've done it in the past. When Title IV Part A changed in 2018 and 2019, in those 2 years, between those years, you were required to do a comprehensive needs assessment, and each of you have probably only done it one time. Well, I know you've only done it one time, unless you changed your goal, I guess, then maybe you did it again last year. But what we did the first time was most of you kind of had already in mind what it is you wanted. You knew your goal before you did your needs assessment, and that really is backwards. The comprehensive needs assessment is designed to be a tool that if you go through it authentically and you do it, you really do it right, then at the end of it, and you're engaging stakeholders at the end of it, it will identify the things that your LEA needs the most in regards to well-rounded educational opportunities, safe and healthy students, and effective use of technology. It will identify the needs for you. And it is robust. It is a lengthy process, which is why you only have to do it once every 3 years. So at the end of this, then you then select your goals and identify the actual needs of your LEA. So it is not an easy process. We have tools to help you do it. What you would report back to us is just the day. We wouldn't need your whole assessment back. And there is, if you look on this the slide that you're showing up now, there's a link here. This link is on the applications that. Oh, Crystal, are the applications available yet? I should have asked you when we started. Nope. Okay. When the application opens, there is a link to this on the application. Again, you don't have to do this year if you're not changing your goal, but you will need to do it next year. Everyone has to do it next year because I believe everyone's 3-year cycle will be ending. There might be a couple of you that maybe didn't use it the first year or two, but so you might not be there. But for the most part, most of you are going to be needing to do the needs assessment next year. That was really a lot of the word need in one sentence. This tool here is an assessment tool that is very robust and very lengthy. But if you do it correctly, it will identify your local needs and root causes, your system inequities, and it will prioritize when you have many needs. So maybe your district has needs more support with literacy and mathematics and mental health and I don't know, right? You have 7 things that you really need to do. This would help you prioritize so that you can really focus on 1 or 2 things instead of many. After you complete the needs assessment, you do need a report back to USBE on your application, but we don't want the whole needs assessment. As much as interesting as it would be to read all the things that you did, that is a lot when it comes to how many LEAs we have. All we need back are your sources and findings of the data review, the stakeholder groups you involved while doing it, what your action plan is for the activities, for each of the activities, well-rounded, safe and healthy, and effective use of technology. And again, please don't give me the whole thing. It's, and you could use a different tool. There's a needs assessment in Title I. If you wanted to use theirs, you could use theirs. This is the one that is developed for Title IV Part A, but again, you could use something different. Okay, I think that was my last. Yep, okay, that was the last on needs assessment. Are there any questions on needs assessment? Specific to needs assessment. And it is quite different than it was before. Great. Okay, additional program requirements. This is also new, but this is something that you need to be doing right now. So if you have a Title IV Part A grant for 2020, you need to be doing this now. When you are asking for reimbursement, Crystal is going to ask you how you spent your funds. How much did you spend in safe and healthy? How much did you spend in well-rounded? How much did you use in technology? And then give us a summary report of how you use those funds. We need to be tracking these for the federal audit. So when we report back to the feds each year, on how much money was spent in Utah, we have to have these numbers in each of these 3 categories of our allowable activities. And this is for everyone, even if you are getting $10,000, which is the minimum. Everyone gets at least $10,000. If you are getting $10,000, you still have to tell us how much money you used in Safe and Healthy. And maybe it was all 10,000, or maybe you split it, or maybe there were other costs associated that didn't fall into this. You need to tell us how much was spent in each of those categories before we can reimburse you. This is not built into grants management. This is sent separately and Crystal tracks it. And if you've sent a reimbursement in the last like 4 or 5 months, you've been asked to fill this out already. So for some of you, this could be very familiar. So this came up earlier in some of the questions that were asked of us earlier, the difference between supplement and supplant. So funds that are used from this grant cannot be used to supplant costs. So you can't use them on something that you are already getting money for in a different program. You can use these funds to provide additional services. So if whatever you're using for purchasing laptops for your students, because now they're remote and they're far away from you, if whatever money you were using for that and you run out of it, but you still need more, you can use 4A money to supplement the other. But you can't say, oh, I'm going to save the other money for something else and I'm going to use all 4A money to now purchase those laptops. You can't do it that way. But you can supplement the cost of something else. Another example would be Beverly Taylor Sorensen money. If you get that money to run an arts program, but it doesn't quite cover all the cost, you could use 4A money to supplement that other grant money to expand your arts program at your schools. Okay, any questions on either the reporting or supplement and supplant? Okay. Don't see anyone typing. Oh, let's see. Looks like someone asked me a question privately. Hold on, let me go back and see if I can find it. Maybe not. Oh, someone asked, okay, so there was a question on when you will get these slides. We can probably get these up within, I would say, the end of the week. Crystal, do you think that that's soon enough to get them on the website? Yep, okay, I got thumbs up. So we will get these slides and the recordings up on the website at the end of the week. I am putting them onto, Crystal, our share drive, so you should be able to grab them from there. If it doesn't work, let me know and we'll problem solve. Oh, somebody laughed. Thank you, person who laughed at me. I can read your name. I'm just not going to call you out. So I'm glad somebody laughed at me. Okay, I'm caught up on the chat. Crystal, will you capture there's an email that somebody wants? So they will be on the website, but we could probably send an email as well to get you.
Yeah, I'll send an email too.
Perfect.
Where I sent the invite.
Perfect.
For this meeting. Yeah.
Oh, you're getting a few. Okay. There's a few people that want stuff now. Awesome. Okay. And moving forward. The sections of the application, if it ever pops up on your screens. So when you are finally able to get your applications in Utah Grants, you will see that the application is divided into 3 different parts. There's a proposal and introduction. So which is where you give us an abstract. Tell us what it is that you are wanting to do with your 4A funds. Then your narrative, which includes your needs assessment, if applicable. It also includes your goals, and this part's for everyone, whether you're getting $10,000 or $100,000. What are your evidence-based interventions? Remember, whatever it is you're doing, it has to be evidence-based. You have to use strategies that we didn't find on Pinterest, people. No Pinterest. I have a thing against Pinterest applications. As a health teacher, Pinterest is not your friend. Crystal, there's a couple more email addresses in there. So you are getting...
Yeah, I'm getting them all.
Yep. You are getting a lot of stuff in there. And so, but you're awesome. I'm sure you're capturing them. The last part is your budget and budget justification. That part is completed inside Utah Grants Management. On your app, excuse me, on the actual application, there's just a section that you have to include and tell us how much money you're using in each of the 3 programs. And again, whether you're getting $10,000 or $100,000, you have to tell us how you're using the funds in either all 3 areas if you're over 30,000, or if you are, or at least one of them if you are under 30,000. That is a requirement, and it can't be done in Utah Grants. Utah Grants doesn't have the tools to have us separate into the 3 allowable categories. So you have to put that part on your application. Other things that are optional to include, but if you use them, then it's required. But if you don't use them, you don't have to, is references. If you are using different programs and you can reference how it's evidence-based or things like that when it's not something that maybe you are confident that we know a lot about, then references are very helpful. Your confidentiality claim for, if that's applicable, that needs to be included. That is attached to the application for you. And then partnership participation form. So if you are applying via consortia, so that means if you are in maybe a very small LEA and there's a neighboring LEA that's also very small and you want to join your funds together so that you can have more money. So instead of having 10,000 each, you have 20,000 combined to implement some kind of program that costs maybe a lot of money to train your teachers, but you could combine your fund to get that training to work and get all of your teachers trained and really make the most of that funding. If you wanted to do a consortia, you could even do a 3rd district, and now you have $30,000 or whatever it is. If you do a consortia, then you do need that form filled out as well. So this is my last slide, which means the rest of our time, and I know we did not use all of our time, which was always the intention. The rest of this meeting, for however long it lasts, is 100% your time. What questions do you have? You can be as specific as you like. What do you want me to go back and explain more? Mine and Crystal's emails are on the screen, so if you would rather email the questions, you can. Elaborate on Title 1 and 2 waivers. So waiver is different than transfer. So Lisa, do you mean waiver or do you mean transfer? Transfer, okay. So you can take your Title 4A funds, however much you're a charter, so your charter, the amount of money that your charter gets, and you can transfer it into your Title I or Title II grants. So if you were getting $20,000, I'm just going to say a number. You could take that $20,000 and transfer it over to your Title II money, and then it would expand your Title II goals and whatever you've applied for with Title II funds. Does that answer? Okay, I got it. Okay, we're good. Perfect.
So quick question, Jody.
Yeah.
If my district is one of those anomaly districts that this is our 2nd year, so if this is our 2nd year, do we not have to do the needs assessment for our 3rd cycle?
Correct. You wouldn't do it until you have to do it once every 3 years.
Okay.
So 22 would be the first time you do, unless you change your goals.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So say we'll just go with the easy one, right? You were using all your money for substance abuse prevention programs. And now you've mastered it. All your students are drug free, because that's realistic. Sorry, I'm a health specialist. I make inappropriate jokes about expectations and goals that we have. If we've mastered that goal and everything's great, and you're like, yeah, we're done. We don't need that money for this anymore. And you want to completely transfer. And now you're like, we're going to work on the counselor student ratio, and we want more counselors in our school. So it's completely different, right? You need to do a new needs assessment.
Now, I also thought I remembered reading that if you'd had it for 3 years, you had to take a break before you started another 3 cycle, or is it just that new needs assessment
Just a new
starts
needs
a new
assessment.
Cycle?
Yep, just a new needs
Okay.
assessment. Yep.
Okay.
And the needs assessment is robust. They just gave us that template that they gave us that they would like for the LEAs to use. It is lengthy, so you will be glad that it is only once every 3 years. But you're getting money out of it, so it's not like it's for nothing. It's guaranteed money if you complete it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And there, in case anyone else isn't looking at the chat, somebody asked when the due date is. We are hoping for October 30th for due date on the grant. However, where there has been a holdup on our end getting it out to you, we may very well extend that if there's a need. So if we're not getting applications turned in on time because we're delaying, we will go ahead and extend the due date for all the applications for our 21 because it's not posted yet. It's in our system. It just takes a really long time to get things approved through all the different people that approve things. And I apologize if you can hear my dog barking through my microphone. The joys of working from home offices. Okay, any other questions? This is your time. And if you are good and you're like, I have all the answers, you are free to leave as well. We are not taking attendance. You are adults. And if you feel like all your questions have been answered, you are free to go.
Hi, Jody.
Hey.
This is Melissa from Jordan School District. This is a pretty specific question, and I'm just going to reveal to everyone how we screwed up. But in our grant that we wrote last for the 2020 school year, we wrote it specifically just with the well-rounded schools and not the health and safety conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And so Crystal noted that to us. We were aware of that, and now we're panicking because in order to make an amendment or in order to I guess I'm just wondering what the process needs to be. Do we need to resubmit and get that approved?
So for your 20, your like FY20?
This is our current current grant that we have right now.
Okay, so you would just have to do a revision is what it's called in Utah Grants Management. And it will, in that you would just explain where you're moving money, like from one area to another. And if it's if you're not moving money like from like salaries or the different categories that it gives you in Utah Grants Management, you can email me your revised application as well.
Okay.
And then we can make note of that separately and approve any of the funding changes through Utah Grants. So if the money moves from like salary to supplies, that change has to be done inside Utah Grants Management because you allocated the money there. But if your money's staying in salary or supply, right, that doesn't change, but the supplies that you're purchasing are different, then that would be the email with the revised actual application to me, because the Utah Grants Management, I learned, doesn't let you upload a new application.
Uh-huh.
So, but you can send that to me and we can keep that.
Okay,
Manually.
so I guess the next question is, you know, what we wrote for well-rounded schools, it was all about math and increasing mathematics ideas. And as far as the health and safety, that just seems very, very different from our original grant. I mean, is it okay to have something so different?
Yeah.
Or are we able to find something that, I mean, I would like to be able to spend it on math, but I'm not sure if we can find something that really relates to health and safety, unless we're talking about mathematical identity and something like that, which honestly does impact students' self-worth and health and safety.
You know,
but
hold on, I'm gonna end.
this might need to be a private conversation, and I can do that with you later. I don't want to take up everyone's time.
You're okay.
I guess I'm just wondering about that.
Hold on, we're going to share that with the whole world. Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up the mathematics. Let's see what they said under, because this could be, this is why we did this time, right? This could be, that's a good question. I want the answer to this. I'm gonna pull up the mathematics. Wrong one, this one. Mathematics. And let's see what they put for safe and healthy. Sorry, it's just a little slow. So support building cultural of student mathematical identities. That's exactly what you said. Look at you. You're brilliant. Where all K-12 learners identify as doers of mathematics.
Okay, so we could absolutely get that related.
Yep.
Okay. Where did you find that page? I guess.
So this is the one that I have asked all the content areas to create. And so far we only have one for ELA and one for mathematics.
Okay.
So, but STEM is in the process of building one. Art is almost done. I asked them to make a couple of revisions. So as soon as we get a couple more, we're going to put this on that website that Crystal shared the link to earlier.
Okay.
Which is just the schools.utah.gov, and then it's the Title IV Part A page of the whole state site.
Okay, so I just took a screenshot of that, so that'll help with getting that revision in, and that actually works really well with our current grant that we have. So dodged a bullet because I was panicking.
Yeah, and she just she's put the link in the chat again.
Thanks, Crystal.
Yeah, Crystal's fabulous.
Concur 100%. She's amazing. Okay.
Okay. Other questions?
Hey, Jody, this is Odie Hansen, North San Pete School District. I'm just taking over for Randy Shelley, and I was just looking over a grant from our previous grant and our application. It was funding a BCBA. However, we're still going to continue with the same goals, but involving a school psychologist instead of the BCBA. Does that require a lot of changes or no?
No, that sounds like a continuation to me.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to clarify that. So I appreciate it.
As long as your goals are still the same, then you don't need to do the needs assessment again this year, not until your 3-year cycle's over.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you, and it's nice to see some faces with some names. So that's good.
There are definitely some benefits to technology that allow us to kind of connect through, but not quite as good as in person, but it's close. Okay. Any other questions from anyone?
Yeah, this is Jackie Whitaker. I am brand new in this whole thing, and so I will probably be getting with you to ask questions. I've got to find our grant and all of that stuff and see. So if you just will be aware that I'll probably be getting a hold of you.
Perfect. I like it.
Questions? Okay, thanks.
I am a strong believer that it's always best to ask the questions on the front end, and it's easier to be proactive about that than make mistakes and have to redo work multiple times. So please ask away. And when you ask a question I don't know the answer to, it's really kind of awesome for me, because then I get to go find the answers and ask the people at the Title 4A TA Center, and that's always great to get more, to learn more things. Okay, it looks like we are dropping off participation rapidly. So I think that we are going to end the meeting for today, and at least stop the recording.